Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Respected ulama, respected students, elders, brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So these presentations are going to be quite short. So it's not a comprehensive introduction or bayan or lengthy lecture on chaplaincy. It's just a very short introduction. And the slides are very, very similar for each subject. So what I've done is just put a few things which you might want to note down on your phone or whatever, because it will give you some pointers of where to look for some of the things that we are discussing here today. What does chaplaincy involve? Many of you know. Before I go into this, I'll just mention this one here, the types of chaplaincy. So there's different types of chaplaincy. You've got further and higher education chaplaincy within universities, within colleges, within some schools, but it's not a very big field. It's a very, very small field. There was a paper which was done around 6-7 years ago by the name misses me, for the government, and he tried to encourage that all universities should employ Muslim chaplains. But unfortunately it hasn't been taken up. Only a few universities have Muslim chaplains. It's a field which needs tapping into, but it doesn't seem like the universities or the government is willing to take on chaplains for further and higher education. NHS, there's lots of NHS chaplains around the country, but it's NHS is a field where money is not there. NHS needs doctors, it needs nurses, so chaplaincy is very, very much down the field. It's not a high priority, and therefore those who are in NHS chaplaincy, they're fortunate to be there, and there's very, very few posts that are coming up for NHS chaplaincy. Social welfare, again, there's not many chaplains in that area. Prison service, I'll let Maulana Abdullah Rawat mention that. Police, there's some chaplains in the police, but not many. Armed forces, because there's only one or two chaplains in the armed forces, and they've got an advisor within the armed forces headquarters as well. And in the industry, sometimes you find shopping malls and shopping centers, they also keep chaplains, or workforces sometimes keep chaplains. At Canary Wharf there's a chaplain, but again it's part-time. So these are the different types of chaplains that there are. The majority will be in the prison service, and then secondly they're in the NHS, and then the rest is hit and miss. Okay. If you want to look at hospital chaplaincy, you need to go to these websites to check out hospital chaplaincy. Number one, UKBHC, UK Board for Healthcare Chaplaincy. There's lots of information there on the UK Board for Healthcare Chaplaincy. Previously, about 20 years ago, there was different factions within the NHS chaplaincy, and eventually they all came together about 6-7 years ago, and they formed the UK Board for Healthcare Chaplaincy. And on there you've got the competencies on there, you've got the capabilities on there, what chaplains need to be equipped with in terms of competencies, capabilities to become a chaplain. And you've got lots of good advice on there, ukbhc.org.uk. Next one is the before it used to be called MFGHC, Multi-Faith Group for Healthcare Chaplaincy. It changed to, I can't even remember the name of it's Healthcare for Belief. And that group is a multi-faith group. So it's the Hindus, Sikhs, Jain, Muslim, Jewish, 9 different faiths come together. They're funded by the government, by the NHS, NHS England, and they meet regularly, and that's trying to improve the multi-faith aspect of chaplaincy within the NHS. And again, you'll find some good information on that website, plus you'll get lots of resources on that website as well from different places. The most popular course for doing chaplaincy is at Markfield in Leicester. It's an 8-day course, 1 day a month for 8 months. Okay, but I would say it's not very comprehensive in terms of it's it's not as comprehensive as becoming a chaplain. So if there is somebody who's a Christian and he comes in chaplaincy, he does a degree. After he does a degree, he does a course on theology. After he does a course on theology, he goes into 1 year, 2 years, 3 years of church apprenticeship as a priest, and then he'll become a chaplain after that. So he's been through all these 3, 4, 5 years of doing something similar in terms of pastoral work, religious work, spiritual work, and then he'll come into chaplaincy. Whereas if we look at our course, it's you do Darul Uloom, which is just study, and then you do 8 days over 8 months. And part of that is doing 60 hours of voluntary work in one of the hospitals or prisons or wherever you are thinking of doing chaplaincy. I don't think it is comprehensive enough, but it's the best out there at the moment, and there is a scope for developing a course on chaplaincy similar to what the Christians have. But a lot of the hospitals, they do ask that have you done any courses in chaplaincy, and if you've done the Markfield course, then it counts for you as a positive and a plus. Okay, and then application, personal statement, reference. Application, sometimes we need to learn how to do an application. Sometimes people put in applications, and I do a lot of interviews, and when I read applications, I get shocked sometimes at what people have written. Yeah, and sometimes you write too much, sometimes you write too less, sometimes you write things that make you cringe. That why is this person writing this? Why can't they take advice? And there are lots of Muslim chaplains who you can take advice of. You know, I have many examples. I'm not going to mention those examples, but even recently I went through a couple of application forms, and I had to just, you know, I had to tell the individual afterwards that when you write an application, don't write applications like this. Yeah, you can see how judgmental a person is when they're writing things, and you can see the examples that they're giving. So that person thought he was writing something good, when in fact it was totally going against that person. So be very careful in your application, your personal statement and reference. Try and take advice. Chaplaincy, what are the aims and objectives? It's about delivering spiritual care, pastoral care, religious care to patients, staff and families. So that's the main aim. Patients, staff and families, those are your main clients within a hospital, and it's about delivering religious care, spiritual care, pastoral care. And these three, you can find the difference on different websites of what is spiritual, what is religious and what is pastoral care. Like I mentioned, these are the sites. What do you need to become a chaplain? You need good character, you need to be a role model. Remember, when you go into chaplaincy, you are a representative in that institution for Muslims. When you do something, it represents Islam and Muslims. So you have to be a role model for the Muslim community, you have to be a representative, you have to have good character, you have to be calm, you have to be able to work under pressure, especially in a hospital. You've got lots of families sometimes, they're very demanding, and you need to be very professional. Yeah. Another suitability is you have to be non-judgmental. Very, very non-judgmental. One of the things that we all come out of Darul Uloom, majority of us, including myself, when I came out of Darul Uloom, very judgmental. We judge people based on their clothing, we judge people based on their looks, we judge people on what they say, we judge people on what they do, we judge everyone. And unless you become non-judgmental, and this is a character of Prophet ﷺ, and Islam taught us this, but we don't practice this. You have to become totally non-judgmental. That individual in front of you, don't judge them. Just because they're wearing something or they're doing something or they're saying something, you need to be totally non-judgmental if you are going to go into a chaplaincy position. It's one of the most important characteristics that you need to embed within yourselves if you want to become a good chaplain. You have to be totally non-judgmental. You have to have good communication, English, written and reading. A lot of times you have to look at policies which will affect Muslims. If you're not good at reading a policy and making changes in there for the benefit of Muslims, you are doing an injustice to the Muslim community. Yeah? And it will affect the whole community. So you have to have good reading skills. Benefits of the role, it's a good position. it's a respectable position, and you're doing khidmah as well as earning some money as well, enough money to keep you going. Okay, so that's it's a very, very good role. Challenges of the role: you're dealing with life and death. Okay, you're dealing with bereaved families. You're working with non-Muslims. So one of the challenges I say is, can I say Merry Christmas or not? That's a challenge, especially in this day and age, dealing with people, working in multi-faith. It's a challenge. How do you work with non-Muslims? Medical ethics, you'll have to learn a lot of medical ethics to understand the scenarios which are going on, end-of-life things, medicine, etc., etc. So you need good knowledge and experience. You need good references. This is to get into the job. You need good knowledge and experience. If anyone is thinking of going into chaplaincy, do volunteering. Lots of volunteering in hospitals. Shadow one of the experienced chaplains. Stay with them for a while, and then you learn that job. It's 37.5 hours a week, plus on call. Okay, so it's 37.5 hours per week plus on call. Like I said, the possibility to get in chaplaincy is not that much because the demand is saturated. You've got band 5, band 6 and band 7 within chaplaincy. Band 5 is entry level chaplaincy. Band 6 is once you're a chaplain. Band 7 is when you're the lead chaplain. Okay, and in terms of how much pay there is, then if you go on to this website, which I'll just give you the pay structure. So there's different. Band 5 has levels. Band 6 has levels. Band 7 has levels. Band 5 starts at 21,909, and it goes up to 28,462. So every year your pay goes up one band until it gets up to 28,000. Then when you get into band 6, it starts from 28,000 and it finishes around 35,000. So when you're on the top of band 5, band 6, then you'll be on 35,225, and then top of band 7 you'll get to 41,373. But this is available on the websites. But again, just a reminder, it's not about the money, it's about the khidmah. The money will come anyway, unless you understand that this is khidmah and there should be sincerity, and you keep on reminding yourself, then money should never become the objective. If money becomes the objective, you lose the whole purpose of why you're doing this work. Jazakallah.